Exposed. UK Prime Minister Theresa May faces parliamentary probe for lying about Novichok. Sean Adel-Tabai of your Newswire reports. This is terrible. She's found out that she's a liar. British Prime Minister Theresa May faces a possible parliamentary probe for misleading members of Parliament about the source of the nerve agent allegedly used to poison the Skripals. The sample of Novichok, a nerve agent British authorities believe was used, was obtained by German intelligence back in the 1990s, according to the local reports. Not Russian, but German intelligence. So, RT reports, Western countries, including the US and the UK, have long been aware of the chemical makeup of the nerve agent known as Novichok. A group of German media outlets reported following a joint investigation. So the Germans were investigating this. You see, the inquiry based on anonymous sources gives new insights into the issue of the nerve agent said to have been used in the poisoning of former double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Julia in Salisbury, UK in March. He was a double agent. He was Russian and also UK. Western governments were able to lay their hands on the formula of what is described as, quote, one of the deadliest chemical weapons ever developed, end quote, after the German Foreign Intelligence Service, the BND, obtained a sample of the nerve agent from a Russian defector in the early 1990s. A Russian scientist provided German intelligence with information on the development of Novichok for some time following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The German NDR and WDR broadcasters, as well as Die Zeit and Süddeutsche Zeitung dailies, report citing unnamed sources that within the BND. At some point, the man offered to bring the Germans a sample of the chemical agent in exchange for asylum for him and his family. A sample was eventually smuggled by the wife of the scientist and sent to the Germans to a Swedish chemical lab, according to the reports. Following the sample analysis, the Swedish expert established the formula of the substance, which they then handed over to Germany. By the order of then German Chancellor Helmut Kohl, the BND then shared the formula with Berlin's closest allies, including the intelligence service of the US and the UK. So it's not just the Russians that have this formula, it's Germany, the US, and the UK. So that's 4 countries, superpowers. Russia, then Germany. Germany shared it with the US and the UK. Later, the UK and the US and Germany reportedly created a special working group, quote unquote, tasked with studying the substance, which also included representatives from France, Canada, and the Netherlands. So that's Russia, Germany, US, UK, France, Canada, and the Netherlands. That's 7 countries. Quote, some NATO countries were secretly producing the chemical agent in small quantities. Let me laugh. So after the 7 countries, the superpowers, there were also NATO countries that had this chemical agent in small quantities. Small quantities enough to analyze it to find out what's in there, and then these NATO countries can make their own. So some NATO countries, they say, were secretly producing the chemical agent in small quantities, the 4 media outlets reported, adding that it was allegedly done to develop the necessary countermeasures. However, it remains unclear which particular states were involved in the Novichok production. The sample of the nerve agent was particularly thoroughly studied by British specialists in the Porton-Down laboratory. That is why they allegedly were so quick to determine the formula of the substance used to poison the former double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Julia back in March, the report says. At the same time, the German media admitted that Novichok has long not been a secret anymore. So Germany said, Novichok has long been not a secret anymore. There were so many countries that had it. They were calling the claim of the British authorities concerning the origin of the substance used to poison the Skripals precarious. In other words, a lie. The British government accuses Russia of poisoning the Skripals in Salisbury using the nerve agent A230, which has since been known as Novichok. Part of the argument put forward by Prime Minister Theresa May for Moscow's complicity is that Russia is the only country able to produce it. Well, that was a big fat lie. It was Russia, then Germany, then UK, then US, then France, Canada, Netherlands, and various countries of NATO. But not in huge quantities, small quantities. What's a small quantity? A truckload? Or a bowl full? You know, who knows? A small quantity, you can make a small quantity, you can make tons of it. Now, however, Czech President Milos Zeman has recently admitted that his country did synthesize and test a nerve agent of the so-called Novichok family. So Czechoslovakia has it too. Okay. Earlier, Russian officials named the Czech Republic, along with Slovakia, Sweden, the US, and the UK itself, among the countries which have enough technical capabilities to produce this nerve agent. The International Chemical Weapons Watchdog, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, has recently claimed it cannot identify the source of this agent that was allegedly used to poison the Skripals. Well, there you go. Now, the Prime Minister of the UK, Theresa May, this woman here, that pretends that she's very serious, but she lied through her teeth about this. She intentionally lied, has a lot of apologies to make to Russia. First of all, I doubt that she was pressed to say this. I doubt that she was sick, that she didn't know what she was doing. I'm saying this because there are various politicians that come up with these excuses. I doubt that she was drunk or sleepless, because she said this many a time. I heard her myself many a day. She was saying this for days after that happened. And she was pointing the finger at only Russia. She said, only Russia has this, nobody else. And she was lying through her teeth. She must have known for at least 30 years, all these countries have had it. And now we find out Czechoslovakia, Slovenia, Slovakia, Czechia, all these people, Sweden, the Netherlands, France, Canada, various NATO countries. What can I say? What can I say? What a lie. She should be ashamed of herself. Well, now she has a very big apology to make worldwide to Russia, because anybody could have done it. I'm sure that if Russia wanted to get rid of one of its double agents, they would have done it with something much more secretive, all right, than having this guy feeling ill with his daughter on the park bench. Anyway, this is on Your Newswire by Sean Nadal Tipitabai. Just a P.S. after thinking about this woman and what she did concerning accusing a country, very dangerous, accusing a country of doing something that it didn't do. And she did this intentionally. I'd like to know what her motives were for that. What were her motives for that? Also, how can she face the UK Parliament after being found out that she is a liar? How can they ever listen to her words? Anything that she could be saying could be a lie. Big lie like this one was, or a small lie, or whatever. I mean, if I had to face this woman myself, I would not be able to listen to her. Because it's like she would intentionally flabbergast you. She would intentionally lie to your face with this solemn look that she has, because she's the Prime Minister of the UK, and she expects you to believe her. Now, I expect the UK Parliament, the next time she goes to talk to them, they're going to start boo-hooing her. They're well known for that. They do jostle and bash people in the UK Parliament. They're not afraid of screaming at people and yelling at people and just shutting them down because of their nonsense that they could be saying. And this woman obviously should resign because she's found out to be a liar, and she's dangerous because of the fact that this lie that she said intentionally has worsened relationships between the West and Russia. a superpower with nuclear capabilities. And because the Prime Minister reports weekly to the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II, I expect the Queen to do something serious because of the fact that trust has been broken, that the Queen asks her to resign immediately. It's not a difficult thing to do. It's one woman talking to the other. It has nothing to do with sex or racist or whatever. Just get the job done. Get somebody in there who's trustworthy and doesn't shame England, doesn't shame the West. Shame on you. You found out to be a liar. Go home. Okay, for the past minute, those are my comments. But if the Queen doesn't do something, she's just as bad as this woman here, this liar. But the Queen is a smart woman. I'm sure she will get rid of her.